What's going on? Listen, in this video, we are going to break down a trending topic that has everybody talking and catching everybody's attention, and that is the BBL. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Not the BBL that you're thinking about. I'm actually talking about the one big beautiful bill that was just recently passed on July 4th. And in this video, I am going to talk about how this bill could go ahead and benefit you. We're going to also break down the 4 key takeaways of this bill, and you can learn how this bill can actually help put money back in your pocket and unlock financial freedom. So you definitely want to tune in throughout this entire video and pay attention through all of the takeaways. So let's get straight into it.
This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it because time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement.
What's good, fam? Welcome to the Respect My Blueprint show, where we cut through all the noise and we keep it real. We give you all of the juice and gems that you need to be able to level up on your blueprint to success, as well as in entrepreneurship, personal finance, and unlocking financial freedom. This is your first time tapping into the show. Do me a quick favor, take a couple quick seconds, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, as this is going to help us produce more content like this and we can let it out to more people. Okay. Now, listen, there is a lot of noise that's going on right now, and you've heard that right. On July 4th, like I mentioned, just last week on Independence Day, President Trump has just signed this much anticipated and talked about one big beautiful bill, or what I like to call it, the BBL, the big beautiful legislation. And this bill here is not your typical bill, because we're talking about, this is a very massive bill that includes a lot of benefits and tax cuts that a lot of people may not just be aware of, right? And guess what? If this is your first time hearing about the bill, or if you're confused about it because all of that's involved, guess what? In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 key takeaways you need to understand about the bill, and the 4 main things you need to take away from it so you can go ahead and not understand the bill, but also understand how it could provide value to you as well too. All right. So with that being said, we're going to go straight into it and break down the 4 key takeaways of this bill. Right now, the first thing, of course, the major aspect of this bill that a lot of people are up in joy over is the big tax breaks of this bill. And I'm not going to lie to you, this bill comes with a tax tsunami. All right. And the reason why I call it a tax tsunami, because guess what? It's going to be making it rain for some. And for other people, if you don't got an umbrella, you just going to get soaking wet. All right. So it's all about preparation here and being armed with the information. All right. Now, this BBL, that's what I'm going to call it. I don't care what you say. All right. This bill locks in the 2017 tax cuts from the Jobs Act that President Trump initially passed during his first term in office. And now what this actually does with this new BBL, it makes those tax cuts permanent now. Okay. And necessarily, what does that mean? It basically means that it's going to go ahead and lower the tax threshold for the tax brackets out there. Also, is going to beef up, double the standard deductions for individuals, and most importantly, for the child tax credit, is also going to beef it up to $2,200, which is, of course, music to a lot of ears for my single mothers out there, right? So this is going to be a great benefit all across the board. Most important, where a lot of people are hearing and maybe unaware of, don't know if it's a rumor or not, but yes, also if you're in the hospitality industry and you're making tips, well, guess what? You're no longer going to be taxed on those tips now. Also, your overtime wages are no longer going to be taxed as well too, because of this new BBL. So think about this new BBL as the big tax savings for a lot of individuals out there. So yes, beefed up tax benefits all across the board. We know whether you're making overtime pay, whether you're making tips, all of these are going to be waived when it comes to tax time. And of course, you know, the child tax credit, like I just mentioned, is going to be a great benefit. So this bill is going to keep a 20% deduction also for pass-through businesses, which is good news for all my sole proprietors and LLCs out there, as this right here is going to help keep more money into your pocket when it comes to filing under these two types of corporations. All right. Now, the second biggest takeaway of this particular bill is the safety net that's being gutted here. All right. Now, what does that mean? Basically, programs such as Social Security and food stamps, we're going to see a major cut on these things. And what that basically means, there's going to be over $1 trillion that's going to be sliced from these two programs. Yes, you heard right. Not billion, we're talking trillion, which is the largest tax cut for these two programs within a 60-year history. Okay, so food stamps and Medicaid, you're going to see a lot of people losing these benefits. As a matter of fact, the government is anticipating over 4.7 million people are going to be losing benefits over the next decade with these programs. All right. But here's the kicker here. All right. Now, they're also going to increase the requirements for these programs, especially when it comes for things such as food stamps, which is now they're going to have work requirements. If you're also going to have to, take extra steps to qualify for these particular programs. Also, if you're a parent and you have a child that's over 14 years old, you better start punching in the time clock, volunteering, or doing something, because guess what? Now, when it comes to food stamps, you more than likely are going to see a reduction in this particular program. All right. So the White House, the way they're spinning, this is going to cut down on waste, abuse, and fraud. But let's call it what it is. All right. It's pretty much a middle finger to the most vulnerable people out there. All right. Ultimately, they say over 11.8 million people could lose health coverage, and a lot of low-income Medicare folks are going to see their out-of-pocket expenses skyrocket. Although they may be labeling this as efficiency, in my opinion, it's all about priorities. And right now, when it comes to this particular part of the bill, low income is not a priority. All right. So now moving on into the third takeaway of this bill is now more money is going to be spent on border as well as defense. Okay. So obviously a lot of us are aware how during the campaign trail, President Trump advocated and also championed about increasing deportation as well as immigration enforcement. Guess what? He's keeping up on that promise. All right. So if you thought this bill was just about taxes, guess what? Nah, the BBL ain't showing no BB love over to our immigrants out here, because, of course, with this particular bill, they are allocating over $350 million to be able to go ahead and increase border enforcement as well as national security issues, hiring over 1,000 more ICE agents by 2029, and also executing the largest mass deportation effort in U.S. history. Okay, so yes, you heard that right. Obviously, a lot of us has been witnessing this, have been experiencing it so far, but guess what? This is going to start ramping up over the next few years, as, of course, this bill is now allowing the White House the ability to do so, as they're going to have the money to go ahead and back it up. All right. And of course, nevertheless, America, since we are the #1 in defense spending, we have the #1 military in the world. So you should expect that they're going to go ahead and put a lot of money into these military toys to be able to go ahead and keep that #1 position. So we're not going to go too much deep into that. That's all for, of course, national security, as I completely understand. The last thing we want is some crazy thing happening here in the United States, and we need money to be able to protect ourselves and the entire country. All right. But nevertheless, they're throwing a lot of money to the Pentagon. But the key focus here is the immigration issue and the money that's being allocated to be able to execute this mass deportation. They're yanking funds from other programs that the Biden administration had allocated to, like clean energy and infrastructure and high-speed internet and everything like that, affordable housing. All of these programs are going to start seeing a mass reduction in them. Okay. So in other words, if you're in Oklahoma or if you're in Midwest America or anything like that, some of these rural American towns, Good luck in trying to get Wi-Fi. All right. But let's keep it pushing. All right. Now, the fourth and last thing that I wanted to go ahead and share as far as the big takeaway of this bill is the SALT cap. All right. Which the SALT stands for the state and local cap deductions, right? Now, what they're doing, they're actually raising the state and local tax deductions from 10,000 to 40,000 through 2029. And this is going to, of course, more affect and help folks that are earning under $500,000 annually. So if you're in high tax states such as New York or California, this is going to be a win for you, because now this will allow you to be able to go ahead and increase your deductions in these states during your state and local taxes. All right. But of course, this is going to phase out throughout the period of this legislation, as again, it's going to be executed through 2029, but by 2030, it's going to drop back down to 10,000. All right. To break it down in simple terms, the SALT cap mostly is going to help the upper middle class, while the working folks, anybody in the low income area, this is really not going to benefit you too much. However, the Senate did keep a workaround for pass-through businesses like LLCs, which is basically a tax loophole for the wealthy. This right here is another example where priorities is being placed for the upper class and more of the lower and middle class. As you can see, there's less focus that's going to be focused on this part of the economy and society here. So listen, these are the main things that I wanted to share with you with this particular bill here, but let's keep it 100. The congressional office says that this bill is going to also increase the deficit by over $3 trillion over the next 10 years. Yes, that's that's trillion with the T, fam. Of course, a lot of the beneficiaries of this particular bill is going to be big businesses, as well as the middle to upper income earners in this country. So although everybody is not excited about this, you can see where a lot of the focus of this particular bill is basically directed to. All right. Now, of course, many of you have been seeing how Elon Musk is absolutely going crazy over this bill and everything like that, and even doing things such as threatening to start his own party. However, one thing I do want to say, it is a topic worth to discuss, because with this particular bill, just like how Trump has America First written all over his mantra and campaign, the question is, you have to ask yourself, which America First are we talking about here? Or whose America First we're talking about, right? Because technically we all live in this country. It doesn't matter what income you earn. And so far, it seems like this particular bill is focused on one particular class of people. All right. But nevertheless, those are the takeaways of this particular bill. If you want my opinion, again, the tax deductions are absolutely awesome. I like the fact that the child tax credit is going to be helping out a lot of single mothers out there. That's being bumped up to $2,200. Also, I do the fact that some of these tax cuts are going to be permanent, right? And some of the new ones for a lot of people in the hospitality and the restaurant industry, you don't have to worry about being taxed on your tips. Overtime pay, that should have been passed a long time ago, right? You've worked 40 hours. Now anything over 40 hours, that's pretty much all that money, including your time and a half, is going to be put back into your pocket. But I don't like the fact that they're cutting a lot. They're taking money from a lot of programs that was already rolled out, and that does have some importance, right? They're cutting from Medicaid. They're cutting from food stamps. They're cutting from clean energy. They're cutting from Wi-Fi in certain parts of the country. I felt like there's other ways that they could have taken money from, take money from some of these unnecessary programs to be able to help fund this bill. But nevertheless, you can't always get what you want. This is a starting point. Hopefully, we are still in the first quarter of Trump's term here. Hopefully, we can go ahead and see some more wins that could benefit everybody throughout the remainder of this term. All right. So I hope this video was able to go ahead and give you some insight, as well as enlighten you on this bill that was passed on July 4th. Listen, tell me your thoughts and comments on this BBL here. All right. That's what I call it. I don't know what you want to call it. Everybody's calling it the one big beautiful legislation, or one big beautiful bill. I call it the big, beautiful legislation, or in other words, the BBL. All right. But tell me what your thoughts and comments on this. Let me know, hey, do you think this bill is going to benefit you? Do you think there's a bias on this bill towards the upper class and everything like that? Definitely would like to hear your thoughts about this. I typically don't do topics like this, as we mainly focus on personal finance and entrepreneurship. Something like this where I feel like it is a piece of law that is eventually going to affect mostly everybody in the country. I felt it was necessary to go ahead and drop this piece of content, so go ahead and inform you out there. But tell me your thoughts, tell me your concerns. If you got great value from this video, do me a huge favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop your comments, as we want to go ahead and keep dropping content like this. And as always, stay safe, stay dangerous out there. We're going to give you the blueprint on how to do shit, and always catch you on the flip side. Take care. Bye-bye.
Blueprint. This conversation about building up your blueprint. It's time to take it, cause time is wasted. Go grind and chase it, don't lose it. This generation need integration with information to move with. An inclination that is abiding in entertaining improvement. Yep, West Paul with Blueprint. This guests are exclusive. Get on and tune in, and then learn some new tips about credit, finance, investment. A nice chance to get rich and buy land. Flip it, quick 9 bands. Learn all the skills from West, he did it. Learn how to build successful business. Run up a mill and get the digits. Run up a mill. Look, safe place where guests are speaking. Based off financial freedom. All facts, no cap, believe it. Podcast, you have to see it.